What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and this is your match preview of El Sacco, otherwise known as West Ham against Everton at the London Stadium. A game that Everton go into on the back of horrendous form, having just lost at home to Southampton. West Ham equally as bad. I mean, you can literally go through both teams' recent 6 or 7 games and it's appalling. So, this is a game that both teams go into probably thinking that if the manager goes for the losing team, it's probably likely. It will be interesting to see what the reaction is to the manager that loses this game, and that is either David Moyes or Frank Lampard. It's a really difficult position because I truly believe that. I truly believe that if Moyes wasn't at West Ham, I truly believe that Lampard probably would have been sacked and Moyes would have been reappointed as Everton manager. And I'm not against that. I know there is some people that are, and I'm fine with that. It's absolutely fine. But there is some people that would be against that. But it's really interesting because if Lampard wins, if Everton win, he probably gets another few games. And the longer this goes on, fundamentally, in my opinion, we're walking into even further a relegation battle. So it's almost prolonging the inevitable. And I'd probably say that's the same with David Moyes at West Ham. Both teams have made really poor decisions defensively. Both teams aren't scoring lots of goals. Both teams are on the same points. I think there's 1 goal in it in goal difference, something like that. It really is a really important game. You'd argue that West Ham, and I hate to say this, but you'd probably argue that West Ham at this moment in time have a better squad. Certainly with the fact that they spent £100 million in, I think, the last summer, I think it was 160 million. Because they were trying to go from being 5th and 6th to challenging the Champions League, and actually it's completely backfired. And a similar thing happened with David Moyes at Everton. You know, Everton finished 5th and 6th, and as soon as he tried to step up and we started signing those James Beatties, those Yakubus, they were fine for a little bit, but they just never quite got Everton to the top 4, the Holy Grail, where Everton at that time maybe was challenging. I think it's really, really interesting that Moyes has still got a job, to be honest, because the investment's been absolutely mad, you know, and they've signed some good players. You know, Scamacca was meant to be and was a very, very good forward. Not really seen much of it. You know, they've got a whole plethora of talent in midfield. They've got a Declan Rice, but yet West Ham just don't seem very good defensively. They don't seem very good going forward, and you know, tomorrow is an opportunity for Everton to go and try and get on the ball in midfield and try and create chances and try and score goals, because fundamentally that is what is stopping Everton. We're not conceding tons and tons of goals, but we're not scoring enough, nowhere near enough. And tomorrow's a big game for that. You know, we've got to be able to move the ball quickly in the channels, but I've said this a few times now. In the final third, we've got to keep the ball better, keep prolonged pressure on these teams, on these opposition. You know, if we can get the ball in the final third and keep it playing triangles, move the ball neatly, you know, maybe bring out a player and then slot it through, you know, into a wide position for a low cross. You don't see that. You don't see Everton trying to do that. It's very predictable football, and Everton have got to try and break that pattern, and they've got to do it very quickly. Do I think Frank Lampard gets sacked if we lose to West Ham? Do you know what? At this point, no. Because all the background stuff, it's all about the board. It's all about the board. You know, I'm seeing articles today. I'm seeing people talking about Everton today and talking nonsense about the situation as if they know it, as if they go to the Everton games, as if they sit there through 95 minutes, bleed blue, the works. They haven't got a clue what's gone on at our club. They don't understand that the £700 million or 500 million, whatever amount you want to call it, has just been absolutely thrown up the wall. You've got a board that have been incompetent, not just since Mashiri come in, but for the last 30 years. And you've got people, You've got people telling me that it's not Ken Wright, it's not Denise. Okay, well, that's your opinion, it's fine. But it is equally them as it is Moshiri, because you have to take responsibility. When you are on a board of directors, it is your fault. Yes, there's the owner, and he doesn't listen, and he just does what he likes when he likes, and that's fine. But if you don't agree with that, leave the board, put people on that board, or put him in a position where he has to listen. And they've not done that. They've not got a strong enough backbone to do that, because they're yes people. And equally, you know, they just go along with it. As long as they make money, as long as they can watch their beloved Everton every week, they're not bothered. They're not bothered, and they you know, the whole passion of being an Evertonian, certainly in Bill's element, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, because last weekend, for me, spoke volumes of this board. They chose not to come. They chose not to come and watch a game of football when every Everton fan needed to sort of back it. And I know the board is different, and I know there was protests, but you sit there through them. You grit your teeth and you go through it, and you almost have to accept that people do not like you, but you don't hide. You never hide. You know, hiding is the worst possible thing. If you've got a problem in life, you stand up to it. You make yourself brave. You make yourself bold. You big up yourself. But instead, they cowered away as cowards and didn't show up. And then all this talk about safety concerns is ridiculous. The story with Denise, you know, I've heard a couple of stories. Basically, she was in the box. She come down into her lounge that they do at half time. Obviously, if you've done the corporate hospitality, you'll know it. But, you know, you walk down the director's stairs into your lounge. You have a little snack, a drink. You go back up to your seat. Apparently, somebody put their arm around that and said, Denise, please can we make some signings? Don't think there was anything malicious in it. Don't think there was anything aggressive in it. And yet, that is apparently what's happened. Now, there's rumours flying around about everything, so that is just a rumour. But if that is the case, we haven't needed this whole extra security measures, and it's just dragged Everton fans through the mud, and I will never forgive this board for that, never, ever. There's a reason why this channel does not have a connection with the football club, and it never will. A lot of channels have probably got themselves into trouble, and I respect them. I respect them all so much for that. You know, all of the other content creators who have probably got more to lose, you know, relationships to break, and they've been really bold, and they've come out and they've stood up, and I've really respected that. I really, really have respected that. And, you know, we all need to stick together. Every content creator needs to stick together. Every person that goes to the game needs to stick together. Every opportunity you get to just voice your opinion about the board, I think you should. I think you should. You know, we're people that spend, you know, £650, £700 a year on season tickets. Obviously, it's a bit cheaper if you're in different areas, whatever. But, you know, these season ticket prices have gone up year on year for the last 2 or 3 years now, I think, after it was frozen for so long, and that was fine. You know, you almost respected it because they were doing the right thing. I respect it now to a degree that they need to increase them because of just general costs, you know, electricity, running, match days, etc. I get it's all going up, and as a result, people have to pay for that. And I get it's not going to come out of their own pocket, it has to come out of us. But, you know, as fans, we have every right to voice our opinion and not be dragged through the mud for it. We've done very fair protests. We have never, in my opinion, caused any issues. I've never heard of this injury stuff with Denise. I hadn't heard about any of that. And, you know, I just think Everton have got to go into this West Ham game. They've got to put it all behind them. They've got to put it all behind them. They've got to be able to be physically strong on the ball, clever moving the ball, move it through the channels, try and play in triangles, get your finishers in, you know, whoever they are, by the way, because Calvert-Lewin doesn't look like he's finishing his dinner. Malpay, I don't know what sort of footballer Malpay is. We're 19 games into the season. I appreciate he didn't come in until, third game in or something like that, but he is not a Premier League player, and he never has been. And I honestly, if you go back to my videos before, I've got no idea why we signed him. You know, for me to sit there and be excited about a winger like Andros Townsend coming back into this team because he's going to just do the basics well, which is beat his man and cross the ball is pathetic when you look at, you know, people talking about Anthony Gordon for 40 million. I'm telling you, Newcastle, Chelsea, anyone, you want to buy him, come and buy him. Come and buy him, it's done. And that's not me saying I don't like Gordon. You know, he's got this whole ego thing and people will make their opinions. And unfortunately, when you put yourself and you are in that public spotlight, people do make opinions and they may be wrong. Gordon may be the most level-headed person you've ever met. You just don't know that. Nobody knows that unless you're his friend. My point is, we need the money and he is a saleable asset. So I would be selling him. And I would have sold him in the summer. I would have sold him now. And when we're going into games like West Ham, he was sitting on the bench. You know, he sat on the bench last week against Southampton. Dwight McNeil and Morpay both on the bench against Southampton. These are players, really, in total, that would have been 70 million, 40 for Gordon and 30 for them to didn't do anything apart from 11 minutes where Gordon come on and was really poor. So this Everton team have got a lot to do, but they've got to trust the players on that pitch, and we've got to be able to back the team. The away fans will be brilliant as always, as they always are. And, you know, I want to see more from these players like Demarai Gray, who I'm not going to say for large parts of this season, but for a bit of this season has looked really quite a good footballer. Iwobi started really well, seems to have gone off the boil a little bit. I want to see Iwobi going back to what he was, ball carrying, beating people, making passes, shooting, making assists. I want to see all of that again. Onana, the same, physically strong, carrying the ball well. I want to see it all. You know, if Everton are going to make moves in a transfer window, get them done. We've been linked now with Dan Juma, who is apparently in advanced talks. You know, there was people joking and putting Instagram posts on about him being in Merseyside and all that. At the end of the day, we need players of real quality. And he does add that. You know, we've also been linked with, is it Sulemana? And he again has got quality. He's got pace. Is he the finished article? No. Is he going to keep you in the Premier League? These are gambles. You know, whereas I think with West Ham, they were clever. They went and signed Danny Ings, who no doubt will score against Everton tomorrow because he always does. You've got Danny Ings, who is a proven Premier League goal scorer. And I, for one, I know people will say he's 30, he's on big wages. Do you know what? I would have signed him happily on big wages for 18 months if that meant he was going to score me goals to stay in the Premier League. And I trust Danny Ings will do that for West Ham. I think West Ham stay up now, but I think there is literally no concern about West Ham whatsoever. And I'd even put money on it that Danny Ings finishes with, say, 7 or 8 goals by the end of the season because he is a goal scorer. So, yeah, I don't know what to predict for this game. My team would be completely different to what many of your teams may be, but it would be Pickford, it would be Coleman, Godfrey, Mina, Godfrey, Tarkowski, Cody, and I probably would consider putting like Vinagre at left back because we need someone to go up that left hand side, beat a person, put the ball in the box. I'd go with Onana, Guy, and probably Iwobi, and Demarai Gray and Calvert-Lewin. And the problem is, I don't think there's enough attacking that side. I don't. But I think we're too open at the back if we don't play 5. But then we conceded 2 goals against Southampton. So I sit there. As an Everton fan and as a creator, I've always tried to give you honesty and opinions and what I think we need, because that's fundamentally why you guys watch. You watch the channel because you like to see my opinion, you like to see if you agree with it or disagree with it, and maybe at times I'm entertaining, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm boring as fuck, who knows. But when you look at where this Everton team is right now, they're in the mud. And it's almost worth going for draws away from home and trying to win your home games. And the issue is, we're not winning our home games. So, look, I'm going 1-1 as a prediction. I think Danny Ings scores for West Ham, and that will annoy me, but there you go. We'll see. We've got Everton have got a massive 6 games coming up. I think if Everton don't get a decent points all out of the next 6 games, I think we're relegated. And I think we're down already, but I think that would just reaffirm it for me because, make no bones about it, when I saw this team October-ish, I thought we'd finish about 14th. And I remember saying that'd be a good season. This team is nowhere near that. This team is, its strength was defensively, and that's gone. Like it's gone. And I don't know how we fix that. So yeah, guys, look, I'm leaving it there. Keep smiling. Support each other. It's a tough time. I don't know about you guys, but it's a week until payday, and I really could do with payday. And yeah, I'll see you soon.